Seems like a good day for a good old-fashioned comic book review video done by me. I am officially unofficial geek, and my name is Carrie Quinn. As always, I am here with your Spoilertastic weekly comic review. Let's have some fun, shall we? Absolutely. So, as always, we do this my least favorite to my most favorite. And we got an extra special little moment with the most liked comic. I have a little bit of something on my mind. So, if you ever wanted to hear my opinions on anything other than just the comics, well, technically, it's still an opinion on the comics, what I'm going to be talking about. But anyway, there's an actual point to this, guys and gals, and everyone in between. There's an actual point to all of this. So stick around. Don't wait through your favorite comic book of this week to find out what I thought of it. Go through the whole thing. And who knows, maybe your favorite that you read this week matches with mine. I don't know though. I think that I picked one that I read this week, and I'm not sure many other people are going to consider it their favorite. But I did. So let's get there. This week it was not really all that bad. And the fact of the matter is that it feels like I might have nitpicked a little bit here on some of these books. We'll find out. We'll figure it out before the end of the video, whether I did or didn't. Either way. Anyways, let's get into this. As like I said, it's my least favorite to my most favorite, and I will tell you spoiler-tastic reasons why. Okay, so the first one I want to talk to you guys about, I had thought this series was over, was disappointed that it was over as I thought, because things just didn't feel cleared up. And I thought maybe it was going to jump into some other book, and then I was going to have to read some other book and blah, blah, blah. Guys, the first book on the hit parade is The Variants number 5 by Gail Simone and Phil Noto. I normally love this artwork. I normally love this writer. However, this has been kind of lackluster for me. And this is now, I guess, officially over now. So we have Jessica Jones. We have her with her team of variants versus another team of variants, is basically led by another universe's Jewel. Good, interesting concept. You have this character of a variant of Jessica, Jewel, that has gathered together her team to try to take over Jessica's life, and the only reason they're working with her is to protect their loved ones. Something funny that I did very much like in this was that the whole reason Jewel was doing this is because she's a little cockeyed cuckoo, and was upset because in her universe, she had this mad oh god, what's the movie I'm thinking of? Single white female. No, not single white female. Fatal Attraction kind of situation involving herself and Cyclops. Yeah. So So in her universe, she had a thing for Cyclops. She had a make believe imagination thing going that she was meant to be with Cyclops, and when he got together with Jean Grey, that angered her, and she went, you know, and she had powers that were actually very similar to Rogue's powers, and she went first to her universe's X-Men and totally obliterated them. Then she went on to other universes to try to find her happy ending after all that, and she kept on going after the Jessicas in those universes, and it eventually led her to this universe where Jessica Jones was with um, is with Luke Cage. So basically, what this Jewel character wanted, she wanted Luke Cage. She wanted to take over Jessica Prime's life, and yeah, so she's gonna fight for it, and that's what happened. The thing is what kind of left it unfinished to me, and maybe if I'm missing something, somebody can explain to me that read it. Maybe I'm missing something. Um, there was this whole plot point about in the beginning of the book and like through a few of the books, um, beginning of the story and through a few of the books where you had this whole like ticking time bomb in her head kind of thing involving the 10th anniversary of when Kilgrave got to her first, and that there was this whole fear that she was going to kill her her family due to the fact that somebody else had the same thing happen to them. Um, that really felt unresolved. Like, not just really felt unresolved. It was, to me, in my opinion, it was unresolved. Meaning, that's still out there, and I'm not sure it's necessarily clear where that ended at. Um, and it's just one of those things where it's like, okay, you had this really interesting story that you could have gone with. It felt like there was two different plots that this story could have taken. The plot where it ended up with the variants and Jewel fighting everyone to try to take over Jessica's life. And then you also had this whole Jessica versus um, the ticking time bomb in her head that Kilgrave put there. So, and it's a figurative ticking time bomb kind of thing. It's not like an actual one. Um, and if you, and it feels like while we have one, the variance situation, which was resolved, we have one that I don't feel like it was resolved. And believe me, guys, if I missed something, let me know in the comments because I don't know. I feel like I missed something. Um, I feel like that this is not what I have come to um, appreciate and expect out of this creative team. It was a disappointment, and I hate to say it, and I do hate to say that. Next one we're going to be talking about is we're going to be talking about Batman 130. Um, this is the end of the failsafe arc. There were elements of this were really, really good. And then there are elements about this that made me scratch my head. I think sometimes comics, especially any of the Batman comics, put itself in a position where it loses a little bit of the whole like Batman is just a millionaire, but like regular guy kind of thing. Like he has no superpowers. Batman has no superpowers, right? So you would think a fall from the moon crash landing pretty much next to the Fortress of Solitude is unlikely for him to live through. But okay, he lived through it, and it just, of course, he fucking lived through it, Carrie. You know, he's Batman. They're not, there's, the fact of the matter is, using some high tech science mumbo jumbo, he figured out while all this is going on how to not die. Falling from the moon, the one up in the sky, guys, to Earth, somehow in the vicinity of the Fortress of Solitude. When you do things like this, it is one of these things where it's like, it's very exciting when you read it. Awesomely well written, well done. It's very exciting when you read it. It's when you go back later and you're thinking about it. And you're thinking about, I have, if you're somebody that thinks about things, like I do, you look at it and you're like, okay, so my suspension of disbelief had to work overtime with this shit. And I don't mean shit like it's shit. It's still good. It's still creative and fun to read. But let me put it this way. My suspension of disbelief had to work overtime with this book, this stuff. Um but that's okay. I one of the things that it's one of the part of the appeal for me of Batman, and this is only a small part of it, but it is part of the appeal, is the fact that he is not superhuman. He is just a regular guy that happens to be a millionaire, multimillionaire. Um, he has no superpowers. Anyway, um, so something else that I absolutely loved was the warm fuzzy moments between him and Tim Drake, and him being like, you know what, Failsafe hasn't, come for Batman and Robin, and we're gonna kick his ass. And then they get out there, and it's almost like he can't. Their plan to basically kind of introduce like a compassion virus into Failsafe does not work, and it appears to Tim and anyone else, before they turn that page, that Batman has been obliterated. But somehow you turn the page, and I am not quite sure what's going on here. And that's okay. That's okay. We don't have to know what's going on. But the thing is you've shown us something's going on. And it seems to not make sense based on what has been shown to us. But obviously, I'm going to get Batman 131 because I want to know, huh? What happened here? But you know what? Gorgeous work though, from the art, especially on this cover, guys. This is the A cover. It's Jorge Jimenez A cover, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Um, I've seen some of the other variants, and those are pretty, Mondo's, awesome as well. Um, I really have appreciated Chip Zdarsky's writing, for the most part, with the exception of some of the things in this issue, involving this failsafe arc. I thought it was really interesting, to revisit that whole like kind of like Tower of Babel kind of situation. Um, so overall, it's not something that's really going to. I think overall the arc of failsafe is not this ending is not going to be something that is going to make it necessarily fail, um, especially when we see where they go from here. We'll say that. The next book I'm going to talk to you guys about is Dark Crisis Warzone. There's some really cute stories in here. It is not necessary to read this, but I did anyways, because why the hell not? I really liked each of these stories. Some standouts for me would be the Green Lantern, the Green Lantern story, definitely. Everything has like really good points about it. Let me see here. The Green Lantern story was. I really liked the Spectre story too, where the human part of Spectre is coming back and it's like, hey, I'm going to try to help. That was kind of cool. Let's see here. There we go. Let's see, is it in the beginning? Yes. Matthew Rosenberg wrote the script for the Green Lantern story. We've got some interesting, pretty cool, different art. Someone I don't believe I've ever seen before. Pencils and Inks by George Cambadas. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Sorry. Colors Matt Herms. Two names that I am not necessarily familiar with. Definitely familiar with Matthew Rosenberg, and definitely familiar with that. I very very rarely do I mention the lettering on something, but I found the lettering quite appealing. Let's see if I can. Ooh. Does that help it? Focus, focus. Yeah, I found the lettering quite appealing. You can kind of see it there. Um, Beautiful, sentiment actually from Mr. Guy Gardner. Okay, and he influences Joe and the rest of the Green Lanterns to stand their ground and fight, and it ends up working out for them in the end. And I really appreciated that. I really appreciated this story. Green Lanterns are supposed to be, you know, built from hope, and it was just this beautiful story of having hope even when things seem really bad. I really enjoyed um, I really enjoyed the first story with Iris West and Linda, where if you had not read Superman and the Authority, um, there's this one moment in Superman and the Authority where Lois Lane grabs one of the guns in the Fortress of Solitude and blasts someone all to hell. Um, and there's a very similar kind of situation here with Iris West, um, and where she's just like, you know what, here, I'm gonna help, I'm gonna grab a gun and I'm gonna get these kids to safety, kind of thing. So her and Linda um, get these kids to safety, and that was very nice. It was really cool how she's just like, I'm just, you know what, I might not be a superhero, but I'm gonna grab a gun and try to do something about it. Um, it was really cool. That one. Let me see here. And there's this really fun moment where it's just like they're just sitting there, Linda and Iris just like catching up, having a quick little conversation. It's really funny. It's really funny. I really like that. And then here you got Iris West with the gun, all that. That's pretty cool. Let's see here. Who did this? This was a script by Jeremy Adams. Pencils Fernando Passarin. Inks Matt Ryan. Colors Matt Herms. Um, It's one of those things. What I like about some of these kind of books is you actually, when you look at who did what, you know, um, sometimes you have the bigger writers, yes, like you have the script Frank Thierry for the Spectre story here. You have the script done for the Themyscira Amazons, done by Stephanie Phillips. Obviously, Stephanie Phillips has done a lot of stuff. Most recently, she is the long-term writer, most recently of Harley Quinn. Um, but like it seems like it's one of these things where it's like sometimes you look at some of these stories, and I really enjoyed the Red Canary story where the heroes are back, and she gets to fight alongside Black Canary, and that was very lovely. It was like, you know, she needed someone to believe in her, and Black Canary came along and believed in her. That was script Delilah Dawson, pencils and inks. Tom Dernick, the colors Matt Herms. You see Matt Herms and Troy Petreri um, on the letters. You see them quite a bit in this book too. Um, it's a nice little anthology of different people doing different things and different stories throughout what's happening. Um, it is not required, but I like that it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, here are these people that you don't hear about a lot, and we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna showcase them. That's what I think that it kind of seems like they're doing with some of these artists. Is like here you are, like let's showcase what some of these people can do, and I do appreciate that very much. um so let me talk. The book that I'm going to talk about is The Joker, the Man Who Stopped Laughing, number 3. My boyfriend picked out this cover, and I love it. He did good. He did good. um the cover is Lee Bermagello. Bermajo. Sorry. Um, I love it. I love it so much. Santa Joker with a little robin on his knee. I don't know why I'm finding this so funny. Okay, so we were just talking about Matthew Rosenberg with the Green Lantern story, and we've got this gem of a gem from him. I'm really enjoying this whole like who is the will the real Joker please stand up kind of story. What we're finding out is it's not just will the real Joker please stand up. It's also starting to shape up to the idea that it might also be a will the real Red Hood please stand up. Um, we have who we know to be Red Hood. We know it's Jason showing up at Harley's yacht. And in the last issue, we know that one of the Jokers is there. And Harley is sitting there thinking it's not really him. But Jason's not really listening to Harley, right? He's just like, tunnel vision. I'm going after the Joker. Um, so that particular Joker ends up in the river and washes up and half dead, and he ends up going to a hospital and semi kidnapping a doctor to have him do work on him. And then you have the whole other Joker who is trying to get an audience with the Legion of Doom. Even Punchline is there. She's sour towards him, and all this. And they're like, we thought we told you. We're not interested in what you have. So get the fuck, out. So this whole thing is you have this whole like, will the real Joker please stand up kind of situation. And Guys, I'm not even completely sure. I read this and I was like, I said, surely this one particular Joker is the real Joker. And I said this to Joe. And he's like, "Are you sure? Because that's actually the one that Harley said." Yeah, because I thought the real Joker was the one at Harley's on Harley's ferry, Harley's yacht, um, which thank you for thank you, Matthew Rosenberg, for a little bit of continuity fun there. Because if you are not familiar with Harley Quinn, if you haven't been reading Harley Quinn went on this mission um, working for Luke Fox, and Luke Fox and his group paid her to go on this mission. Well, it allowed her the opportunity to buy a boat, of which she is living on, which that is all happening. Um, that all happened in the Harley Quinn book. And now you have Matthew Rosenberg writing about Harley on her houseboat. And I was like, yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, gods. Thank you. Somebody connected something. Somebody connected two stories in some way, shape, or form where it made sense. Thank you. Thank you. It happened. And take this moment to take a drink of water. Thank you. Thank you, Matthew Rosenberg. Thank you. So that's basically what we're dealing with here. And then there's people, somebody wearing a red hood, going around and killing gang members. FYI. That's also happening too. So the real Red Hood, pretty sure we have a grasp on him. But we don't know which one is the real Joker. Thought I knew. Then somebody had to be like, no, but that's the one that Harley said on her yacht and on her boat that, isn't the real Joker. And wouldn't Harley know? Well, yeah, that's true. Harley would know. Okay, so guys, next on the hit parade, we're gonna go with a new number one. This is, come on, anybody who knows me knows, and you say, hey, we got this new book, all right? Um, and it's basically a sentient robot that is basically trying to use pagan rituals to bring back somebody's dead daughter. And in order for those pagan rituals to actually work out, they've been enlisted by the gods to like hunt down whoever they want them to hunt down. So it's a sentient robot plus pagan rituals and Wiccan rituals plus basically a supernatural bounty hunter. Yes, please. And that's what you got with Hexware number one. I very much enjoyed this. I love this. I love this. I love this. Oh, it's one of those things where it's like I can sit there and I can tell you up and down what the heck you got reading this, but really that is what you got. This is Tim Seeley writing a book that I really like. Surprise, 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 surprise. Um, I like this one. This one's gonna we're gonna work this out. Why sell your soul when you can buy a new one? Yeah. There's not much. It's really cool when you actually get in a situation where you're just like, okay, so there's like This is this plus this plus this, and you've got this. And it pretty much actually really does sum up everything without any kind of spoilers or anything like that. So basically, but here are the spoilers. Here's what happens. So you have these sentient robots, and they are referred to. What is the name? It's one of the first ones I read. So I'm trying to remember what they're called. Andes, home Andes, and so you have this home Andy, and she's running around, and there's this bomb that goes off, and her owner's child is killed, and they go through this whole, like, grief and everything like that, and she's trying to help, and then finally they were like, you can't help us, because we have to just, our daughter's dead. This is nothing that you can, warm a cup of tea and it's gonna fix things. But she's just like, okay, but she has this intense need as their servant robot to fix this, to make this better. So she starts reading all of her owner's books and produces this ritual, and now she has to go hunting for these supernatural beings. Like, this is her doing the ritual, right? It's a robot doing a pagan ritual. And this is showing her going after one of those beings. Um, they're called witchwares. Witchwares. Yeah. So she does this ritual, and she's spoken to by these beings, right? It says, "Never has an inanimate object made such a request. But I suppose if a bucket or a sawhorse could ask, I might have obliged. I will give you what you seek, witchware. You must retrieve those who have escaped the darkest depths, those who deserve perdition, but who walk to and fro between the earth. That is the cost, among others." So, yeah, that's basically, she wants to get the kid back, but she is being asked to do this. So, Hexware, Tim Seeley, Scotto Lavina for the art. It's lovely. And I showed you some of those pictures in there, some of the art in there already. I really liked it. Lots of fun. Lots of fun. Um, so we're down to the last two books that I'm going to talk about. There are some books that I was supposed to read this week, but I did not get to them. I will, however, get to them and talk about them. One of them being, I believe, a book that came out, I think it was this week, which is the Wildstorm 30 compilation. I do have that. I do have the recently released DC Christmas holiday special book. I do have that. And I did recently get the book Chroma, was ordered for me, and I did receive it, and I do want to give that a little bit of a read and a review. I want to give myself a little bit more time to do that. I just didn't, since I didn't get a video out last week, I wanted to make sure I got one out for you guys this week. So we're going to, do that as it comes. So the next book I'm going to talk to you about is Batman and the Joker, The Deadly Duo. Here we are. This is great. It's a very solid continuation of the story that has already been started. Obviously, story and art Mark Silvestri, colors Arif Printo, letters. Hey, it's that Troy Petrori guy that was in the Dark Crisis book this week. Hey, good job, Troy. Nice work. Um, so basically you have you check in with Jim Gordon, and Jim Gordon is being held, and the Joker doesn't even know where, but he's being held because the Joker needs help finding Harley Quinn. So they're going to start cutting off pieces of Jim Gordon and sending them. But then you revisit the battle as it is with Batman talking to the Joker, whom he's tied up and hanged up, like tied and that kind of thing. And you have the Joker, the Joker like clones, and yes, the Joker clones, as you come to find out, Joker mixed with something else, mixed with something synthetic. That's what you come to find out. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's put a pin in that one and come back in a moment. So they're fighting the Joker clones and they get away. But Batman has taken a really nasty bite to the shoulder and he has to get worked on for a couple days by Alfred. And then they have to figure out what to do about the Joker in the Batmobile. So basically, they put a mask on him and tie him up, keep him in one spot, while Batman goes to investigate what's happening. But before he does that, I put a pin in it, so let's go ahead and get back to what exactly these things are. Well, dear reader, it's basically Joker plus something else plus a synthetic material. That apparently will regrow anything. It's gross. It's gnarly, but it's cool. Um, so this is your classic, you know, story of. Can I even call it classic? Let's break this down here. So this is your story of the superhero that has to team up with their worst nightmare to do what's right. And all of the hijinks that happen from that. And at some point, Jim Gordon's finger gets, sent to the GCPD. That's swell. And it's one of those things where it's really interesting because the Joker is like, and if you try to beat out of me where Jim Gordon is, I don't even know. So it's one of those things where it's like he has enlisted the help of somebody else to make sure that they can get Harley back. And Harley, of course, we do get to see her. She's got plans of her own. She's trying to create weapons so that she can try to fight her way out of there, which is pretty cool. All in all, at the end of the book, we have Batman facing a choice where they have to decide who dies in a situation because they met up with the kidnapper rather than the Joker. So we'll have to wait and see how that works out. Yeah, so it's really great. It's solid. It's nice. I love it. So we've reached the final book. Now, if you follow me on Instagram and you've gotten this far, and if you saw that post, yeah, you know what I'm about ready to talk about. Q rant. When I got back into collecting comic books, I got into it at an era where it was really easy to hop in to DC books. Um, if the opposite had been true, I would have easily hopped into Marvel books, but for my purposes, when I got back into this after I was completely wowed by a DC Black Label book, it was just one of those moments where it was like, everything is rebooting. I can come in and I I can figure it out, right? Ever since then, I am making attempt after attempt after attempt to get into a Marvel book. I read all of the variants. I did. I've tried here and there to read certain Marvel books to no avail. Nothing really was grabbing me enough. I mean, I read the first Daredevil, or not, I read the first Daredevil. That confused the heck out of me. That new run just started. Um, I had no clue what was going on. It required several Google searches and I still didn't get it. I tried to get into X-Men when it had the new #1 of the main X-Men title, and it required several Google searches and I still did not quite get it. I like to think that I'm a fairly intelligent person. I'm pausing for you all to laugh meanly at me right now. But I like to pride myself on being a fairly intelligent person. I don't I don't think that kind of stuff should be that difficult to understand. If you're starting out with a new #1, shouldn't be that difficult. I mean, I've had plenty of characters that I have gone to when new #1s have came before that I have very much liked in the past. X-Men, Daredevil, Punisher, um, Deadpool, and it really did not grab me at all. At all. And there could be a multitude of reasons why that happened. I've tried here and there, didn't quite work out, but that's okay. But I keep trying because I want to widen my scope, y'all. I want to widen the scope. That's why you're seeing the presence of other books like the Cherish from Dynamite. You're seeing the presence of Hexware now. Um, you're going to see other things coming out that I'm really interested in, and slowly but surely reaching outside of DC, because while I am unapologetically a DC fangirl, sometimes you want to go someplace else than where they have you, where you've been. um so when my boyfriend picked this up and I was unaware that it was happening, I thought, why the hell not? Let's read the Blade book. I like vampires. Why the hell not? Let's read the Blade book. My book of the week, Blade, Vampire Nation. Why am I upset right now? Earlier today, I was unaware. I had finished reading Blade. I was like, this is actually really solid. This is really great. I didn't need a Google search or four to try to figure out or understand anything in this book. All I needed was right here. All I needed was right here. That meant somebody wrote this book in a way that all I needed was what was printed on these pages. to feel like I had a solid start. That I could sit here and I could get Blade, Vampire Nation 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I could do it. And I would probably enjoy it. Murder, intrigue, vampires. Like, basically, this is a murder mystery plus procedural plus vampires. I loved it. And I didn't need some Google search or 2 or 3 or 4 to tell me what was going on. That meant that everything I needed to know to enjoy this book was right there for me. So who did this? Who did this? Let's open this puppy up. Let's do the read here. Let's do the read of the credits here because they deserve it. Thanks, guys. Writer Mark Russell. Artist Dave Walker. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. I'm sorry. Color artist D. Cunniff. Letterer VC's Corey Pettit. And you got the cover artist of Valerio Giangiordano. That was my best guess there, guys. I'm sorry if I got that wrong still. And Chris O'Halarian. I've got the cover A here, so let's see here. We've got production design Gabrielle Mata, assistant editor Martin Brio, associate editor Annalise Biza, and editor Tom Brevoort, editor-in-chief C.B. Cebulowski. Vampire Nation. Blade. Vampire Nation. So let me give you the premise of this. I'm just going to read actually from the page here. Eric Brooks is a half vampire, half human, half vampire hybrid known as Blade. He possesses vampiric strength, senses, and longevity, but is able to withstand daylight. Yeah, we knew that already. Blade has dedicated his long life to battling supernatural evils on both on his own and as a member of the Mighty Avengers. All items we knew. All items that, if you did not know anything about Blade, just told you everything you needed to know right there. Dracula formed a nation of vampires in Chernobyl, over which he rules. The UN and the Avengers agreed to recognize the new nation's sovereignty, only under the condition that Blade serve as sheriff enforcing law and order among the vampire citizens against Dracula's wishes. Boom. Everything right there. And then, because other books have done stuff like this, right? Then it goes into a story that was solid. It was a solid story where you have a group of mercenaries, hired hitmen basically, come in and pull out what they think is Dracula, but is actually another vampire. What was his name again? Corvus. The vampire Corvus. They think it's Corvus, and it's not actually they think it's Dracula, but it's actually Corvus, and it kills Corvus because they pull him out before nighttime. And what Blade is being asked to do is to come in and try to figure out why somebody, like who, what, when, why, and how somebody was trying to assassinate Dracula. So you go into a little bit of information about what is happening in different parts of the new Dracula, uh, the new Dracula world, the new vampire world in the area of Chernobyl. Um, and you find out what the purpose of humans are there, the what vampires do there, what humans do there. Um, you get more information. You have the fact that some people um, are happy in the circumstances as they are, but then you get the idea that some people are definitely not happy in the new status quo. They miss the hunt or what have you. So then you have the countess and the mayor of a certain city. They work together to put out this hit on Dracula. And so basically, that is what Blade figures out. And he's investigating all this, but things are not exactly adding up to him in the end. And you get like a little bit of a, ending that it was like, oh, what is this? What is this? I'm in. I'm intrigued. I'm in. I'm here. I'm going to get number 2. I'm going to get Blade, Vampire Nation, number 2. Imagine my disappointment when I found out later on today that there is no Blade, Vampire Nation, number 2. So the only book that has intrigued me over the last 2 years long enough to hold me for probably more than, 5 issues. It's not actually ongoing. Sadly, it's not. But I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you something. All those people that I read off. I loved this book. I love vampires. I love procedural type things, detective like work. Hell, I'm a big Batman fan. Okay? So here you are. You got the big ass Harley Quinn and Batman fan to love your book. I hope that changes soon. I hope that changes soon. What I mean is, I hope we get some kind of really cool, really cool Russell written Blade book. Because that was good. That was good, guys. Thank you very much. If you want to hear more about this, there is a fanzine that actually the person that told me the bad news actually has a interview coming up. It's Stapled Fanzine. Stapled Fanzine. It's a horror book. I think it's Stapled Horror Fanzine, or Stapled Spine. Excuse me, Stapled Spine Fanzine. It's a horror fanzine out of the style of the old, fanzines from like the 90s. It is so freaking cool. I have like looked at that, and I have looked at they have a website, and I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna put the website down in the description. If you like horror, and you like the really cool old fanzines of the 90s, totally check it out. Apparently, the person that told me on Instagram that it told me the bad news actually has a interview that's going to be coming out of the writer, Mr. Russell, Mr. Mr. Mark Russell, that's going to involve talking about some of this. So I know I'm going to want to check it out. I hope you do, because they were kind enough to give me the 411. And they were saying in their comments to me today on Instagram that this book, this fanzine, this magazine will be available with this interview. I believe they said at the end of the month. So check out. I'm gonna put the website down in the description. Stapled Spine Horror Fanzine. Um, really cool looking. And if you can't wait, if you see it and you look at it and you can't wait, I believe you can buy copies of it online, have it shipped to you. So if I'm wrong, please Stapled Spine Fanzine, comment, please. But anyways, that's it for this week and my comics that I read. Like I said, there's gonna be some that I have that I hadn't finished yet that I'll talk about, as they come. So stay tuned to that. Obviously, this Wednesday, because Friday is Bizarro Fett's birthday, I'm letting him choose what we talk about. And I think he's chosen, but I'm not quite sure. We will wait on that for what's happening Wednesday. Stay tuned to my social media, and I will let you guys know beforehand. But anyways, that's it for this week. This is the officially unofficial Geek channel. Thank you for watching. This is the Spoilertastic Weekly Comic Review. Glad to be here. Glad you came. And I'll be seeing ya. Bye.